Tullibardine Distillery is up in the Highlands, about 42 miles northeast of Glasgow. It is also located about 46 miles northwest of Edinburgh. As close as it is to the two largest cities in Scotland, not a lot of people know about the Tullibardine Distillery. Some of us discovered the whiskey by accident because there just isn't a lot of hype out there on Tullibardine. The water source for Tullibardine comes from the surrounding Ochil Hills and is drawn from the Danny Burn. These hills are well known for the gold that was once mined from them. The clear water that runs through them will have taken 15 years to reach the Danny Burn. Tullibardine Distillery has a 6-ton semi-loader mash tun and 9 stainless steel washbacks. Fermentation is around 52 hours. They have two 21,500 liter wash stills and two 16,200 liter spirit stills. Since 2011, the distillery is owned by the French wine and spirits group Picard Vin Spiritueux. This can certainly be an asset with their access to the good wine casks for maturing and finishing their whiskies. In 1488, King James IV of Scotland stopped near Tullibardine to purchase beer from a local brewery. In 1798, William and Henry Bannerman opened the first Tullibardine distillery for a year, and then in 1814, Andrew Bannerman started it up again and ran it to 1837. In 1949, the famous distillery designer William Delme-Evans bought the old Gleneagles Brewery site and built the new Tullibardine distillery. This was the very first distillery to be built in Scotland since 1900. Well, welcome to Noel's World of Whiskey. And what do we got today? We have actually one of my favorites, and I don't know why I have not been doing a review on this guy. So this isn't a distillery that everybody knows about, but it's certainly one that I have followed, and not really an old distillery, 1949, but they've been distilling off and on here for 500 years. And the distillery is basically part of an older brewery that goes way back. So a lot of history. The water source is some of the purest in Europe, not just Great Britain, in Europe. So, great spot to be brewing, and that's probably why, one of the main reasons why they've been brewing beer and they have been distilling there for so many years, 500 years. So, this particular one here, I was going to get the 15, and somehow, it's probably a Ralphie review or something, and he said, no, go for the Murray. It's a 15-year-old as well. So I go for the Murray, and it was many moons ago, and I was surprised. So I have to do a review, a fair review. What's it look like? Nice box, great box, solid, very solid box. So it has just a good solid feel to it, heavy built. Some people, some reviewers don't like putting all the money into a box, but then too flimsy a box. I've had them come out the bottom, so I like a good box. There it is. So, the box, the Murray, and the bottle. 46% ABV, no color added to it. And these guys are well known for using first fill casks. This in particular, sherry cask. So they have already experienced bad casks. So there's been a tradition through even the change of ownership, the history, to use good casks. It's all about cask management. And we are going to give you a little bit of history. So, let's get my glasses on and let's get started. So, I was saying the alcohol was produced here over 6 centuries ago. So the brewery was operational in 1488 because when King James IV was coronated, he actually made a trip through there, and he actually picked up some of their brew. But then in 1495, he actually asked the Friar John Cor, who was in charge of the brewery, from 8 bolls of malt to make the aqua vitae, of course, is distilled beer. So because of the access to beer in this area and the king documenting some of his trips up there, they can lay claim to the oldest public brewery in the kingdom. And distilling was also tried again in 1798 by William and Henry Bannerman, and they opened actually the very first Tullibardine distillery, and it only ran for a year. We don't have a full story on that, but then another relative, Andrew Bannerman, tried it again, and he actually ran it from right up into, I think it was 1814 to 1837. And then we move on to the 19th century, and of course there was I believe 3 breweries there, and 2 of them were owned by Eadie family, and then there was the Gleneagles Brewery that is now owned by the Sharp family. I wonder if it's any relation to me. And the other 2 breweries did not survive into the 20th century, but the Gleneagles sort of soldiered on until 1927. And, you know, in 1949, the famous distillery designer, William Delme-Evans, which, you know, I've done some, in my reviews, I've mentioned him numerous times, and, you know, very well known in designing a lot of the breweries, especially in the last 100 years. So he actually bought the Gleneagles Brewery site, and he built a new distillery there. And it was the first to be built in Scotland in 1900. And in 1940, and by the way, the story behind that was he found that the water there was just so pure. It was the perfect place to build a distillery. So I don't know if that was his original intention, or but the documentation, history, and all that I read, that's basically what it said, was that it's the water source. 1953, it was bought by blender Brodie Hepburn, and involved with Glen Turret, and he increased the capacity of it. And then, of course, Invergordon came by and bought out Brodie Hepburn, and I think I've gone through a lot of this history, and White McKay came around and bought out them, Invergordon. So what do they do? What does White McKay do? What they are well known to do? They buy out a distillery, and then they mothball it. But they kept I think their interest was more the warehousing. And and by the way, this lies northwest of Glasgow in the Highlands there. So it could be a practical thing for warehousing with the Highland distilleries around there. Now, Tullibardine lay silent from 1994 to 2003 when Business Consortium snapped it up, and their idea was to sell off some of the retail park, which was part of that land, and use that money to get the distilling up and running again. And it was in similar fashion to Bruichladdich. The new owners found that most of that stock had been filled in old tired barrels. So they basically had a heck of a job re-casking. And I think that's why their focus is so much on new refill. It's all about cask management with this company here. And I can tell you from experience, just tasting their whiskey, it's all about cask management. So an extensive and expensive re-casking operation went along, and again, 2011. And this company, I got a little bit of respect for. It's Picard, the French wine and spirit group. They seem to, when any of their distilleries they've got involved with seem to do well with them. So anyways, they got it, basically got a hold of it, got it up and running. The failed retail park, they repurchased that, and that helped them expand their facilities and production. That's enough history for now. Let's get into this guy. So we'll give it the nose and see what we get from the nose. So basically, I've done a little bit of cheating here because you see I have drank a little bit of this. I have drank a little bit of the Tullibardine, so it's not the first time I've nosed this. But I always get the sherry influence and lots of fruit. You know, I'm getting the oranges and the berries mixed together here. Honey notes, boy. And every once in a while I get a little bit of that jasmine honey, you know. I've had that in the past. What am I getting right now? Lots of honey notes. Is it jasmine honey? No, it's more of that rich clover honey today. But it's always a pleasure to nose this because of the fact it's just so fruity. And a little bit of chocolate, very rich. Chocolate, fruit. There is a lot of descriptors I've used, you know, in the time I've been into Tullibardine, and they're all pretty tasty. I brought a bottle of Tarcanol. This is their 16-year-old, and it's the Oloroso and Muscatel cask finish, because there was some similarities. They have a Madeira too, and the reason I put it there was because they're too... If I'm not enjoying a whiskey or I'm just having an off day for whiskey, sometimes I'll pour one of these or one of those. They're just so consistent. I just don't seem to ever have an off day with them, eh? But 15 years old, by the way, the Murray. So it's going to be, before I palate this, we're going to show you the legs. And hopefully we've got it in focus there. Nice thick legs. Okay. So, time for the palate. I never get tired of this stuff. Very rich. Oranges, chocolate, just like the nose. The wood, a little bit of the malt, granola, berry granola. Getting into my crisps. Even some date squares. Something between a date square and a fruit square. Berries and dates. There's such a richness to this drink. Sherry bomb, not so much like an Aberlour. It's sometimes I hate to use the word confectionery because I use it more in a positive way. Some of the reviewers use it more in a negative way, but let's face it, a lot of us like confectionery when you do it at Christmas. But the word confectionery for me is not necessarily to put a drink down. It's more of, it's a treat. This is a treat. It's sweet. It's not, if you do not like a sweet drink, you probably won't like this because there is a sweetness to it. But there's other things. I've still got the coating on my mouth from that first sip. And it's a velvety coating on my tongue. And I can really now get into the malts, cinnamon. And I really enjoy just chewing this stuff, you know. Some whiskeys I don't. I drink them. But I enjoy chewing this stuff. So, make a long story short, fruity. There's floral notes, definitely floral notes. in the nose of this with that fruitiness, that honey, and honey more so than vanilla. Bit of the McIntosh's toffee going on, and I'm going to stick with the fruit squares. So let's now go for the finish. Oh, wow. This is a medium to long finish on this, because I was still finishing off when I got into the finish. the previous shot I had. So it's funny because when I drink this, I do have a tendency to taste it more. I drink it slowly, and I think I really appreciate this. That's why I can't believe I have not done a review on it previously, but it is a consistent player in my, on my shelf. I do go back to this more than most of the other, well, other than maybe a Lagavulin or an Ardbeg. I do go back to this on a regular basis. There's a few others I really like. I put on par with this, like, Craigellachie. I like the Craigellachie, but this is Highland, and Craigellachie, of course, is Speyside. And again, the Tyrconnell, another interesting, some similarities, the one's an Irish, but it's not true Irish because it's more like a single malt. But for the finish, very similar things going on there. You got the chocolate coating on my tongue here, maybe even a little bit of the mocha stuff going on with the orange, and there's almost sometimes a creaminess to it, so maybe it's more latte, but a good coating, medium long finish to this. So we're going to add a little bit of water. And let's just top it up just a wee bit, and we'll add a wee bit of water. There we are. And let's see what the water does to our Tullibardine Murray. Again, a company that is focused a lot on their casks. So let's do this and give it a little drop of water there. And we will see. And again, I've done this before, so it's not a first. And I am going to get my McIntosh toffee. It's there. But now, instead of the honey notes, I get more of the vanilla mixed with the orange. Orange has been there the whole time. And we're getting a latte. A mix of a little bit of the chocolate in the latte, a bit of mocha. I think that's the key with when I add water to this. That I said it's confectionery, and it just throws more of the richness, the creamy. Well, I like that's why I use latte. Some of the oh boy. I had a good one on the tip of my tongue there. A lemon meringue pie. There, orange meringue pie. Palette. So we are definitely getting vanilla and orange. That orange has been there the whole time. Meringue, I'm going to stay with the meringue. Lemon, lime, meringue. Well, no, not the lime. More lemon, orange meringue. Now I'm going to throw some dried fruit there. I said date squares before. Maybe more like the fig Newtons. Kind of a little bit of that, and I think that's the dough and the malt. Granola's still there. Not a lot of, just every once in a while I get a wee bit of that smoke, and I think it could be they're working those barrels. They're toasting and charring the barrels, the old shave, toast and char. I'm pretty sure that's what I get there. I don't think there's any peat whatsoever in this. I think their water is very pure. But overall, water, it's your choice. When I throw the water in, it does change it a bit. It does. It does give some richness. But it was rich when we started, so it maybe just amplifies it a bit. Overall, this is, to me, I've got to give it an 86. 86 to 87. I'm gonna somewhere around there. It's a go-to. It's a consistent. I've got 18s and 20s that I would rather go to this. So that's why I think it deserves a respectable score. I will let you know that if you're if you like your cherry bombs, you like the sweeter drinks, the fruitier drinks. You will like this. There's not a lot of sulfur notes or anything I can pick up in this, by the way. So, Glenfarclas, the Craigellachie's, I use the Tyrconnell, and also the Madeira, the 15 Madeira as well. Looking toward any of your rich sherry bomb drinks. If you're that inclined, try a Highland Tullibardine. I think you'd be surprised. The Murray for sure. You've got to try the Murray. So that's my review on the Tullibardines. We're going to ask you to drink wisely, drink intelligently, do not drink and drive, and until the next time, so much.